And, not only is it my godfather's car, but it's the last front-engine winning car in 1964. So this is iconic in so many different ways, and I can actually see over the steering wheel. So I imagine AJ was a little higher. I don't see any power steering lines, so I think that it probably you had to wrestle this thing around and did a lot of sliding, a lot of dirt sliding through the corners of Indianapolis, which today is a big no-no. But at least you could always see your right rear tire and always check it out. It's hard to imagine. I think that we talk, when we talk about it, we keep thinking about how the evolution of the car is going to go and what's going to be the next trick or what's going to be allowed in. And to think of when they drove these, I mean, they had a hard time conceiving when they brought the rear engine car that was going to be better. The funny thing about it is after the Indianapolis 500, AJ actually took a dirt car and sat on the pole at Milwaukee, and I thought that was big time, because you see this big old dirt car next to these two little roadsters, and so that was sort of the beginning of the end for the Roadster. I'm pretty happy with my Window World Dallara, I can tell you that. It's got a little bit more downforce than this, but I have a feeling this car would be a whole lot more fun to drive around the Speedway. Well, I'm going to say that my favorite is always going to be the '69 winning car, for a lot of different reasons. My uncle and the way the car looks, and I don't know, it just has a special feel about it. It's probably because it's mostly because of the family, but there are so many other memorable ones. I mean, the Yellow Submarine, and with Johnny Rutherford, and that brought on a whole new era as well. And so you just see the cars, and I got to see a lot of these cars win these races. I mean, when my godfather AJ won the '77 race, I was standing in Tower Terrace, on the seats to see over the people in front of us. So I was there. I remember when, I can't remember who broke, but AJ took the lead then. And of course the crowd stood and cheered, and always a fan favorite. And I remember him taking the lead with this, and I remember that was the first four-time winner, and so it was a big day. Obviously, everybody around. I was very young, but still I could appreciate that point. But I mean, even this, it's amazing, that you think about it. I mean, all this is so thin, and it's just sheet metal, and now we're covered in a capsule, and the safety and all that's so much better. It's incredible. But to think that, I mean, they built this down in Texas and brought it here, and it was sort of these are the ideas that I have, and that's what you go with. Now it's all done by computers and wind tunnels and other things, and you miss these days because everybody had a little bit different idea of how to do it and how to go fast and how to win. Yeah, I think 1977 was another transition, another time that so many special things happened. It was, of course, the first time that a female had qualified for the Indianapolis 500 with Janet Guthrie. Of course, we got to hear, "Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines," which was unique because everybody was anticipating, well, how are they going to do that? It was the first time that 200-mile-an-hour barrier was broke by Tom Sneva, of course, the gas man. And I was a teammate with Tom, and I know that he can get on it. So it was a lot of great things happened in '77, and I think when people talk about IndyCar in the heyday, I mean, they think of those things that come back that made it very special. I mean, now today, even last year, I think we had 5 women in the 500, and and now it's not, it's a news story, but it's, and this is where it all started, 1977, that long ago. Oh, definitely. I mean, this was the thing that everybody then started to build their cars towards, because obviously, I mean, it should have won more than once, and had it not broke, it would have. So it's an amazing piece. Even today, it looks very very current, because of all of being closed in. Yeah, I think the thing that you look at when you look at this is one good thing about the evolution of the IndyCar has been they've taken the driver and taken him from being so far forward to keep scooting him back, and that's all only for safety reasons. It's not for performance or any other reason. But you can imagine Johnny's legs and feet were up here, and now we're very much back here. So although you don't see that difference as much in the cars, it's there, and it's important. I'm walking down through and I'm looking at all these different cars, and I'm looking at all the pieces they've hung off them, and at that point the motor was an animal. It would produce well over 1,000 horsepower, well over probably 1,100 horsepower, and they were just trying to get it to get through the corners, so they'd pile on as much wing. They weren't worried about drag, they were just worried about trying to get around the corners. And then I look inside, and so many of these cars, they have a lever in the middle, and I assume that that's a weight jacker, just to help them pump the weight jacker up to help it give, you know, during the race, to be able to adjust the car. It's, you know, today I think that that's really cool. We do it electronically and hydraulically, but, you know, they were doing it back then. But, you know, you think of all the drag on the car, that they had to make that kind of horsepower just to go 180, 190 miles an hour. And today, if we put one of those in that Dallara, we'd go 250 miles an hour probably, because it's just it's just raw power, and the motor's bigger and it's turbocharged, and you know, even the turbos on them, look at how big it is. It's huge. So yeah, I think that back then it was all about, I know at one point they even talked about trying to keep the rear tires from spinning, you know. So yeah, now the rules say the rear wing can't be that big. And in Indianapolis, you don't really want it that big, even with the other cars, because we make so much downforce underneath now. I can tell you that 67 winning cars here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. And if you want to come and see history of motorsports, this is where it is. And I can't tell you, but this is exciting for me, and I love it. You know, this is where it all began, and this is what we're all aspiring to get to.